Hi, welcome to Sweet Dreams Wellness Travel. I am Barbara Tuckett, your host, and the owner of Sweet Dreams Travel. I am a wellness travel specialist. I believe that our mind, body, and spirit all play into our well-being, and I create travel experiences which improve your wellness so that you return from your vacation with more health, more happiness, and more connection, both with those you've traveled with and also with your destination. In these episodes, I explore travel and wellness experiences, giving you ideas and recommendations, and also interviewing people who have firsthand experience of the places where you may want to go next. Welcome, let's get started. Hi, welcome to today's episode. This is number 32, and today I am super excited to get to talk to these guests. I've known them my whole life. They are actually my parents. This is Bryan and Joanne Weston, and I'm really excited to welcome you. Hi, Mom and Dad, welcome.
Hi, Barbara. It's good to see you.
Yes, so we're so excited because today we get to talk about their cruise that they just returned from. So they just got back just a few days ago from an Alaskan cruise. And I know people are worried and excited and nervous and really anticipating returning to cruising and don't really know a whole lot about it right now because cruising has not been going on for very long. So we're really excited to get to talk to you guys and to hear about your cruise. So tell us where your cruise was too. Where did you go?
We went to Alaska, started out in Seattle, flew to Seattle, and then boarded the ship and went to Alaska.
And then it was a round trip Seattle, right? So you came back to Seattle and then flew back home.
It was, that's correct.
Yes. So, and what was your cruise line that you went on?
It was a Princess cruise.
Yep. And the name of the ship, just so everybody knows, was the Majestic Princess. So
yes.
That changed a little bit, and we're going to talk about that as we go along. So let's jump in. And first of all, let's talk about the planning process. So tell us maybe just why you wanted to go, kind of what started this whole trip, who you went with. Let's just start with the planning and kind of how that came about.
Sure, go ahead.
So 2 years ago, we have three other couples who are friends and we cruised with before, and we decided we wanted to go on an Alaska trip. And one of the members found an ad through a travel agency that gave us a good price to go to Alaska and about the time that we wanted. And so we checked on it and we clicked on it and we were all ready to go. Everything was great. And the reason we went is because there were a few promotions, like $50 to spend on the ship and a specialty night dining. And so it sounded really fun and very good, and free Wi-Fi as well. And so we did it. And then, of course, in the spring of 2020, we received information from this travel agency that Princess Cruise were not cruising, and that we could certainly have our down payment back, or we could leave it with Princess Cruise. But essentially, this travel agency said, we're finished with you. Here are your numbers and your reservation numbers for Princess Cruise. Goodbye and good luck. And so I thought, oh, my daughter Barbara, our daughter Barbara, is a travel agent. I wonder if she can pick this up for us. And so she did. She picked it up for us, for all four of us. And
all four couples,
and got it so that we were, and then she rescheduled and got it so that we could go this fall on one of the first cruises that opened up after COVID.
Yes. So it was kind of a bumpy ride, and even along the way, bumpy as far as we didn't know exactly whether ships were going to be sailing or not and when they were going to start and all of that. But we scheduled it far enough out that we were really hopeful that cruises would be going again. And the really great thing is that we were able to get it for the dates that you wanted, and we were able to keep all of the amenities plus add a few more the second
That's
time
right.
around
Right.
booking it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we got you a great amenity package, including a little more onboard credit even than you had the first time around. So
Yes.
it was kind of a win-win.
And the cabins, you can't forget the cabins.
Oh,
We got them with balconies. I'm so pleased.
All of us together right in the middle of the ship.
Right.
It was
Just
a
super.
wonderful experience.
yeah. So it ended up being, although COVID was not a great stopping reason, it actually turned out to be probably a better experience overall than what you would have had originally. So that's a good thing. So anyway, okay, so let's move on. Do you want to tell us anything about flights or the airport? Of course, for people who don't know, masking is still required.
Right.
So I'm assuming you wore your masks, and did your flights go okay, getting you back and forth, all of that?
They did. We had to get a COVID test just before we left.
Yes.
We had to get that within, 36 hours
72.
or 72 hours of the ship sailing.
Right.
So we got that and had to have a paper showing that we tested negative. So
Mhm.
we carried that with us. We had to carry our certificate showing that we'd been vaccinated. We had all that. And of course, we took our passports, but we didn't need them because we didn't stop in Canada.
Right.
We had all that and had our masks, but everything went smoothly. The flight went very well. The connection with the ship, the cruise line went very smoothly. There were no hitches anywhere along the way.
I was concerned as we started to get on the flight. I thought, oh, I didn't really read in detail exactly how we meet the Princess Cruise when we get off of the plane, but they were right there. And the bright red jackets, and it said, oh, and they even had a desk right there that said Princess Cruises, and it was just easy, very, very easy, very, very kind to us, very, very good.
Every step of the way was well covered, so there was never a question of any of the connections.
No, we were never lost.
That's great. That's great, because I know a lot of times people get worried, especially as they get off the flight and you think, oh no, now what do I do? Where do I go next? And so that's great that they were right there.
Right there in the baggage claim area. They were right there. And we knew exactly who they were, and they just took very good care of us.
Yeah, it took us right out to the bus to connect with the ship. And everything was really well connected, well covered.
Good. That's great. Okay, so let's talk just a little bit about, just before we get into the cruise part of it, you talked a little bit about how you were vaccinated. For this cruise, and for many, if not most cruises, they require a certain percentage, if not 100% of all of the guests to be vaccinated. The entire crew is vaccinated, so you don't have to worry about the crew members on the cruise ships. What about, did you notice anything else on the ship? When did you have to wear masks? What other kind of cleaning types of things did you notice, if any? Was anything, I guess, COVID-ly different as compared to cruising before COVID versus now? What did you notice about COVID stuff?
Basically, everyone was masked on the ship.
Outside of your own rooms.
Yeah. As we went in the elevators, up and down in the ship, as we went to different productions in the theaters, everyone was masked outside of our own rooms. As we went to eat, everyone was masked until you were eating. After we had eaten, the staff cleaned the tables, cleaned them down so they were always clean. We felt that everything was really well covered in terms of any concern about COVID.
I wondered about the buffet and how that had worked, but it just meant that you went along and found what you wanted, and they had a plate back behind for you and put it on and handed it to you. So they pretty well served.
They dished it up. They dished it up as you went along and then handed it to you.
But you still had your full choice of the buffet. And there was a couple of places where they had things set out a little bit away from one another and different things. It called take and go. And you could just take your little hors d'oeuvre or whatever it was that they had right there. And it wasn't ever touching any of the others.
Right.
But, but mostly they served us. They served us and handed it to us.
Most of the food was behind plastic or
Yeah,
glass
glass.
Right.
that they would hand to you,
Shields.
so that
Yeah.
it was very well covered.
Right.
Good. What about like the room service? In past cruises pre-COVID, you always had like the little mint on your pillow or the fun towels that were in different configurations and things. Was that the same or was that different?
None of that.
They didn't do that, although
Okay.
they watched, and whenever you left your room for a while in the mornings, they would come and clean your cabin, provide fresh towels and so forth. They did very nicely in terms of keeping your cabin clean and serviced, but they always wiped it down and took care of it before you were back, so that it was always kept very clean.
Good.
But no little animals and no mints on your pillow.
Okay.
Right.
So that's something that probably
Right.
will come back, but at least right now they're really being careful about that.
Right.
So, okay. All right. So let's move on to just the cruise itself. Now that we've talked about all of the COVID stuff and getting there and everything. So you got to stop in a few different ports and you got to see a few different things. Just talk about maybe some of the places that you got to see or, places you stopped or things on board that you really liked. Let's kind of talk about that right now.
Okay, let us do the onboard things.
Okay.
They have different entertainers, different programs on board, and everything was very upbeat, very appropriate. We didn't have anything that we felt was off color or inappropriate. They had some wonderful entertainment from comics to magic shows to musical. Everything was very, very nice, nicely done, very, very appropriate. They brought some rangers on and some naturalists to talk about things we would see and history of the area. And so those were very nicely done. So we appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you go to the entertainment every night or did you go sometimes and sometimes not?
We looked at what was offered and went, it was by choice. And so went when we wanted to, and when we didn't have to. And there were things in our rooms on the selections that we could watch, or watch some of the shows that were recorded that we could watch in our rooms, or because our rooms were connected, we could spend time with the other couples that we were with, talking and visiting and doing things with them.
That's fun. Oh, and we talked about this before we got on this call, but explain how your rooms were with the balconies, how that worked. Because
there were four couples, and we were all right in a row, and we all had balcony rooms. And right when we got there, we had a person, one of the staff, one of the crew members that came, and she said, "Oh, did you want your balconies connected?" And we said, "Sure." And so she removed the little wall; it just swung back. She on us, and so we could go out, and all four couples could be out there watching the glaciers and watching the whales and watching the dolphins, and it was just delightful. Or we just went out and visited, as long as it didn't get too cold. Remember, we went to Alaska.
Yes. And this time of year, how cold was it? Was it like more jacket weather, or did you really need like a heavy coat?
As long as we were on the ship, it was just jacket weather. Even when we were out on the balconies, it was just kind of jacket weather. But when we got into Ketchikan and it was raining and cold, then it was 3 layers plus a raincoat, plus a rain poncho. Yeah.
But interesting, the first in Juneau and Skagway, it was very nice, sunshiny, beautiful weather. We had great weather.
So that was just jacket weather.
Right. But then once it started raining.
Yeah. No, Ketchikan was cold.
Was the rain.
When we got out in the rain.
Yeah. Yeah. So part of it was sunny and jacket weather, and part of it was colder. So
right.
But you have to remember, this is Alaska in September, so
that's right.
So that you expect the weather to be about like that.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. So that's fun. Okay. So you've talked a little bit about the places where you got to stop. Tell about your favorite excursion that you did.
We actually only took one of the excursions that the boat that the Princess Cruise offered, and that was the train excursion, and we thoroughly enjoyed that. The others, let's see, when we first got there to Juneau, we got off and we actually found a little tour bus that was there. It was a private person, and he gave us a wonderful tour up to the Mendenhall Glacier and dropped us off, and then came back an hour later and picked us up and brought us back to the ship. And then when we got off in Ketchikan, again, we just got off by ourselves, and there was a local man there that says, oh, if you want to see Ketchikan, there's a bus that's going to come to that bus stop right there. And for $2, you can ride anywhere you want in Ketchikan. He goes north and south. But once you get off, you have to pay another $2 to get back on. So that's what we did, and had a delightful time at a totem pole park and at a restaurant, and then back to the ship. It was just delightful, just right for us.
Yeah, that's fun. Dad, talk a little bit about that train that you went on.
In Skagway, that was the gateway to the gold fields and the gold rush in 1898 and 99, 2000, 1900. And that was really a wonderful visit. We took the narrow gauge train as far as it went till it got up to where there was a bridge out. And that was just a delightful time. And as we took the train, they told about the history. And we thoroughly enjoyed that. We took that train, scheduled that as an excursion from the boat. And we thoroughly enjoyed that.
And it was very, very easy to find where our excursion was supposed to be, and walking to the train and everything. It was very, very easy.
They pick you up right from the boat.
And there was no wondering where we were, because there was the sign that says, if you're to go on the excursion at this point in time, train at this point in time, be right here. And we waited for a few minutes and got on the train.
But after we came back from the train, we walked into Skagway. It's just a small town right there. All of the shops right there, I can mention in Skagway, were delighted to have us. They haven't had many ships there. And so they were all thrilled. And they meet us on the sidewalk and say, please come in. We haven't seen many people. And so they were thrilled to have us. And they were so friendly. And we just had a delightful time, even shopping and just visiting with the people. We didn't have to buy all of the places.
Right.
They're just nice people, and fun to visit with them. Had some great times.
Yeah, that's great. That's so awesome. I'm sure they love having cruise shippers.
Especially this year with the shortage of cruise ships.
Yeah.
And instead of there being 3 or 4 or 5 ships in the harbor, we were the only one. And so
you got their undivided attention.
Right.
Yes.
That was just super.
The people in the shops were all masked. And so we felt very safe, and it was just a very delightful time at every stop.
That's great. That's great. Okay, let's talk about, you talked a little bit about the buffet, but tell me about the food on the ship. Was the food good? What did you think about that?
It was excellent. It was excellent. Every night, of course, we had a little bit different menu. We were seated at the same table with the 4 couples, and we got to know our waiters very well and absolutely loved them. They are from all over the world, and we got to know a little bit about their families and who they were and what they were doing. And they were so excited to have the cruises back, so excited to have us there. We just absolutely loved it. But every night we would make our choices, and of course, if we want to have 2 appetizers, we can, or if we want to have 3 desserts, we can. And it was just delightful. The food was excellent, very, very good. Yes, it was.
One evening we went to the French restaurant, Le Maire, And that was a delightful evening. And then the last night, they did Baked Alaska. And so they all come out with the main chef for the whole boat and do a dance before they serve the Baked Alaska. And that was delightful. The Baked Alaska, of course, is an ice cream cake that's served after they flame the meringue on the top. Anyway, it was just a delightful evening. But the food throughout the cruise, the other people that were with us, as well as ourselves, who have been on many cruises, said this was by far the finest meals, the finest food that they'd ever experienced on a cruise.
So I think they're stepping it up in order to get us to come back.
Yeah, they must be. They must be. That's great, though. It's great because I think some people are maybe worried that, because they've made cutbacks because of COVID or something, maybe the food's not as good, but that's great to know.
No,
I think it was better in everyone's estimation.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. I know my aunt and uncle, Dad, your sister and her husband, they've been on over 15 or so cruises. Yeah. And that they had never been on Princess before, but they loved this food more than any of the other ships they've been on.
That's what they said.
So that's good. That's a real compliment when you've had that much. Okay, so just to wrap up, is there anything else that you can think of that we haven't really covered, or would you have any recommendations or anything that you would tell people about cruising, or things to do or not to do, or anything like that?
Oh, I think we would just say, if you're tempted to go, go. And if you're tempted to wait, don't wait. Just enjoy it. You'll have a delightful time. If you are thinking about going on some different cruise, choose Princess. And if you're tempted to pick a travel agent, choose Barbara.
Exactly.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I've loved hearing about your experiences and your cruising, and I'm sure people will be really happy to hear this and to get to see our little Zoom call that we're doing here, because they just don't know. People just don't know what to expect right now. So thank you so much for being with me.
Well, it was a great experience. Thank you for setting it up for us.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, we'll talk to you later.
It exceeded our expectations.
Wonderful. That's what we always love to hear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share, subscribe, or leave a review. If you'd like to contact me about a vacation, the best way is to visit my website, sweetdreamstravel.net. To connect on social media, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, or LinkedIn. See you next time.